I'm happy to be welcoming Nick Koshnick today to Dyslexic Advantage. He's a dyslexic physicist, data scientist, and co-founder of an exciting company at StoriedWork.com. The Storied app looks like it's a powerful writing tool that's going to be helpful for so many dyslexic individuals. Nick, tell me a little bit more about yourself and your team.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm delighted to be here today. When I was reading the book, it just lights up all sorts of memories. It's really helped me. I'm a dyslexic individual with many of the mind strengths and weaknesses. Math is easy. I have a PhD from Stanford in physics or applied physics. Like many dyslexics, I'm an entrepreneur. I started a company, raised a lot of money from Google, Khosla, Andreessen, sold it. And this is my second company. And I'm working with this guy, Frank, who's an analytics nerd. He's a marathon champion, and he's very different than me.
Mm.
He he likes clear writing, and uh he loves to read, he loves to write, he doesn't want meetings. And as we were initially working on this a different sort of play, we just discovered that, we're working on AI. We realized that helping people, dyslexic thinkers, communicate is super empowering for myself. But then we talked to 100 other dyslexic leaders, and we were like hearing very similar things. Many people bringing up the dyslexic advantage, and yeah, so we're focused on helping those people communicate their ideas. Oh, and by the way, we're remote. So I can't just like call him up all the time or see him in the office. I have to create writing. And that's
Mm.
that's so true for many teams post-pandemic is where we need more writing.
Oh, that's great. So how does how does the app help?
Okay, so I thought if it's okay with you, I would do a little demo.
Sure.
So I'm gonna first show a video and then we'll use it live. So the video here is instead of writing, you just hit the record button and talk out your ideas like there's someone in the office that you can talk to. And then when you hit pause, you can ask it for a question. And that question will help clarify your ideas just like you do when you have, a partner that you're there face to face with. And then once it's heard you and it's really designed to help you get to clarity, then it will write up your ideas. And as it writes up the ideas, it will give you extra tools to help refine it and share it. It's kind of like it's got that sort of GPT stuff at the end, but the focus is about really getting your ideas out rather than, just typing a little command like write me a cover letter or whatever. It's going to end up really boring if it doesn't see the insights that you see as a dyslexic. Um, Make sense?
Well, I'll just say briefly, I think that's really cool because so many times when we say, okay, well, you can just do speech to text. But
Right.
the problem is, it's like, and some people really never get to the point until they're really talking out loud. And then you're like, this is the kernel in this kind of cloud of ideas.
Right.
I think that is such a cool thing that you realize that this is to get there, to really to make it much more natural, being able to get your ideas down to the page and not having to wait hours or sometimes days for it to
Right.
happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think speech to text, like the Dragon Speak or the old stuff works if you only are like, I'm running 5 minutes late, like a very, very simple idea. If you have to ramble, I mean, sometimes people need space to get to clarity, right? And you don't want to send that whole thing. You don't want to send the voicemail. You need to get to that clear part for other people to understand.
Yes, great.
So let's try it live now that there's sort of like a overview. So I have this. Do you mind if I record two segments and then get a question?
Please do. Love to see it.
Okay, okay. So um I want to write a brief blog post, and the concept is that every problem has two stages. The first stage in understanding a problem is expanding it, right? It's like taking the nugget, the challenge, and going and researching and finding people to talk to and understanding the math and understanding sort of, all the visual complexity or all that stuff, unpacking it, expanding it, seeing the connections. And dyslexics are typically super good at this because we have many, many strengths, right? We're good at like finding resources, we're resourceful, we're good at many of those kinds of thinking. We're good at the interpersonal, or we can be very good at interpersonal connections. And we honestly live in an area where we can see these interconnected ideas. Like that expansion part is many of the mind strengths. We can know the narratives. It helps us expand our understanding of a problem. Okay, a little rambly there, right? So that was part one. Landing so far? Sort
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. No, exactly. But when I saw that, I want to talk about, I mean, that's exactly the thing. You don't really want that in your dictated
Yeah,
product.
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
And
God,
there's no way that
that's not a
you
good
would have to
blog.
spend time drafting it, kicking out things, all that kind of stuff.
Right, right. And this is the way why I can't write is I have so many ideas that are interconnected. So I'm gonna take a second now that I've paused. Second part. So the second part of any problem is compressing that idea, like funneling to the essential point that everyone understands. And you need to do this to get to action. You need to do this to help other people understand you. And because they can't see all those interconnected parts at once, the what way you can after you've done your research. And so this compression part, I think, is very hard for dyslexics because we see all the pieces in our mind. We haven't spent a lifetime reading very boring linear things. We don't think in a very linear way, and we have all these ideas, and so I think that's where AI could really help dyslexics achieve more, is if there was an app that helped people clarify their ideas in a way that it could impact others. Help them clarify ideas so that it's clear and concise. All right, so that's part two. You got this like problems are expanded and then they collapse. And now I kind of know, as I said, that wasn't super clear. So I'm going to get a question. And I don't know if it will pick up the audio on this. And also, live.
Could you tell us more about how dyslexics uniquely expand on ideas?
So it asks questions that are relevant to what I said. Like, how do they expand on
Can you
ideas?
explore how AI can assist dyslexics in idea compression?
So the second question is, how can AI help them assist them in idea compression? And I'm just going to take a shot at this. So first, you have to give people the space to articulate their full idea, even if they're rambling, right? If you only can write 2 lines, that can be hard because you need the space to talk out ideas, to think them. And when you talk out ideas, and I do mean talk, not type, where we are self-critical, you get to clarity because you linearize your ideas. You have to talk about them one at a time. And then the second thing that dyslexics do all over the world is we go and look for people to give us feedback. That's the question those are the questions that help us get more concise. And then the third thing is, if you can have AI really hear you out and write it, then you can use AI to further sort of clarify it and just ask AI to say, like, that's great, but I need these 2 things changed, and say it in half as many words. So those are the components, talking, questions, and helping AI rewrite it in a way that's even more impactful. So how did that land?
It's great. Yeah, it seems like you're not writing at all. You're doing the brainstorming, and it's like you don't have a product at all.
Yeah, I mean,
Whoa, look at that.
my my co-founder is here, but he's the kind of person that would have to listen to, me ramble like that. And he's not here because sometimes I have to be on my own, really self-sufficient. And so what I can do is talk out these issues, and rewrite them in a way, and it really hits that expansion, the compression. It summarizes those ideas
Crazy.
in a way that other people can understand.
It's funny. Like Brock. Well, I should say Brock is the first author, and I'm the second author for a good reason. But he sometimes called my what was he called? It's something he calls my writing like Jackson Pollock writing. Do you know Jackson Pollock? Where it's like all these little splatters of things all over on it, and it's like or paintball. He says I write like a paintball hitting a wall because it's like boom, they got these things all over the place. Wow, look at that. And it gives you a little graphic there too. So
Yeah.
you want to have this read a little bit because so people can hear how
Oh
it
yeah.
actually outputted that?
So one of the things, it's visually clear. There's a version of writing called Smart Brevity where you can just skim it and see the titles and sections. The problem is expansion, compression. How does AI help? It gives you questions that further clarify if they're not clear. It helps you focus on certain points. And you can rewrite it, as an email or as a blog. It'll just sort of help that
Oh, look at
revision
that.
process.
Explain it to me like I'm 5. I love it. I love
Right,
it.
right.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Or a Twitter.
Um,
Yeah.
and the best feature probably is just this describe changes.
Mhm.
Like if you say, uh, I'd like to rewrite this as an email to Fernet, and just hitting on the key points, and very concisely without any of the information repeated. Just talk to it like you're talking to, my poor co-founder Frank, or to Brock, the people that are those clear thinkers, and it will help you get to this like super, super clear version of what you're thinking. Because
It's
dyslexics
so
have
cool.
that.
It really is like talking to a person who's like talking to a virtual assistant who really assisting you.
Right, and
Yeah.
not cut you off.
Yeah, it's wild. It's definitely wild. And so in a situation like this, so some people they hear about AI helping and they hear about things like hallucinations or getting some random, making up things and putting things in the text. That doesn't happen here because it's working with what you say. Is that correct? So
That's
people
right. If
don't
you
have to
say,
worry.
write me a essay about whatever, it'll say, the user wants to write an essay about whatever. Like that's it. Like
Yeah, so it's looking to you. It's not actually scooping these kind of things off the web. It's really looking with what you give it and just really doing that, like that editorial work or whatever, to put it in the right order. Or like, maybe mom or dad, can you help me proof my my paper? Or my wife or my husband. I mean, we know a lot of families that's how it works.
we
there's
we've
proofing
we've
from your spouse.
we've interviewed 100 dyslexic leaders, and almost everyone has some form of compensation like that. I don't like a marketing genius is like, but I don't let anything go out until my wife sees it or gives feedback. And it's not enough to just do the voice to text, right? They need some sort of feedback
Yeah.
on what part's landing, what part's not, to get there. And these are like board members of like public companies. They need these kind of tools.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild. Well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So let's see. I mean, so maybe you can go into some of the examples um
Yeah,
of some people like that and how it helped them in their careers.
yeah, I would love to. Um, one um one of the people, so we've been super quiet, like we're basically an unknown company that's really focused on trying to help dyslexics. And so what we did is we just reached out to several people that we saw, are dyslexic thinkers. And some of them tried it out, and we sort of revised the app a little bit. One of my favorite stories is this guy, Noel. He tried it out, and then, it's hard to change. So he stopped using it for several weeks. And then he came back to me and he said, Nick, can we get on the phone? Sure. And he's like, okay, here's the deal. And he describes that there was this digital asset within this company that's unused. And if he spins that out and gets some investors on board and buys this other company and then uses that digital asset for a marketing technique, he could attack this new market and a growing market. And, as he's explained it to me, I'm feeling like my co-founder, Frank, I'm like, there are a lot of, that's hard. Like, that's, first of all, amazing insight. That's not easy to do. And he's like, yeah, and the thing is that it has to come together, really quickly. He's like, I understand. I'm like deep in the analytics of this space, and I understand these people, so I know what to do. I just don't know if I can do the level and the amount of communication I need to do to pull this deal off. And I'm like, okay, well, he's like, so I need your app. I need it. I can't do it without it. I'm like, okay, well, what do you need? Privacy. Yeah, okay, so we guarantee privacy. What if it fails? Okay, we'll dig up and restart it if there's anything that that happens, and we're like, we'll be behind you. So he started using it daily. He's articulating his ideas. He's bringing investors on board. The company that he's trying to get the asset out of, they need a super detailed plan, like way more detailed than other people, because they don't want to give up this asset. And so he's articulating ideas, using it to get business buyers on board. He's writing ideas to get illustrators to help him like package it up even more compelling way. And he just so I reached out to him. I was like, how's it going? And he said, fine, no problems, but I have a story. I shared something from your app with one of our partners, and he called me up, and I'm like, oh God, it's not going to understand it. I need, And the guy said, how did you create this? And he said, why? And the guy said, well, I've never seen you articulate something so clearly before. I'm like, yes. So that deal looks like it's coming through. We hope to announce it soon. We have this another guy, Matt Ivy, founder of a dyslexic.
Let me just add a little thing here before I get into this one. Because this is how I work. I do like have associations. So I can't tell you, because we interview all these people, right? And so many people tell us the most difficult aspect of work is like, you will see where things are in the future. You will see what needs to be done. I see it, it's clear. And the hardest part is explaining it to non-dyslexics who do not see it yet. Similarly, I think when Professor Logan, she was at University College London, did all the interviews with dyslexic entrepreneurs, she said, I was trying to find out what was behind all these very successful entrepreneurs who did not have business plans, written business plans. And it was them. So I totally see this. This happens, and entrepreneurs who like switch this on, they will see it, they will know it. Yeah, it is so familiar. But that communication piece and being able to communicate it in a linear fashion is really what is often, because business, it has to be cooperative, and it's a lot of different brains coming together. And if you're the visionary and they can't see it, it's just not going to go. So yeah, how fascinating.
It's that you write about it extensively in your book. It's that dynamic reasoning. I have zero rote memory. I have great episodic memory. And I think Noel's the same way. He's actually done businesses like this before, and he can see how they play out. Yeah. But explain it to someone, that's the hard part for us, because we don't have but we need to get everybody on board in order to get it done.
Yeah. And the time thing, once the opportunity, you're right, there's just like this door that opens, and whether it's funds or whatever, or these people coming together, and then suddenly you need these different communications that are tailored to all the different people who are on board, and people who, if they get something from you that doesn't recognize that you know them, it's a turnoff, right? So you've got customized kind of mailing things, and yeah, wow, that's pretty cool. Anyway,
Yeah, with our tool, you can rewrite it. You know, the 2 sentence summary for that one guy, and then like a little more detail for your team or whatever. Once you get the idea out of your brain, right?
yeah,
All those
beautiful.
interconnected ideas out of your brain.
Yeah, really cool. Yeah,
Two
what was
more
the next
stories.
one? Yeah.
Matt Ivy, founder of dyslexic.ai. I mean, if you get on a Zoom with him and he's just got like whiteboards and notebooks and it's just like all over. And he uses it to get his ideas out, and it's always struggled to write. I can tell why. He's got a lot of different ideas. And he's like, I want to write a daily newsletter. Sorry, I want to write a newsletter. He wrote out a plan for 50 weeks, 52 weeks. And then he's like, I'll make it daily, right? He's kind of a crazy guy. It's like, if I have 52 ideas, I'll just do it daily. He's at 182 days and running, daily newsletter, over 1,000 subscribers. And he uses his app just to get those ideas out of his mind and into a format that he can communicate, which is a testament to dyslexics that are, of the more interconnected type.
Expansive, also
Expansive type. That they can get these, accomplish tasks like that.
Yeah.
And then another one, Shani, is a coach for dyslexics. She's done a period of time where she worked in the education space. And she is now switching more to doing coaching people, adults who are dyslexic. She actually has a writing degree, very good at writing. And she uses the app just to move faster. When she leaves a client, she'll open it up in her car, and just while it's still alive there, she'll articulate her ideas. Like, what did we cover? What do we have to do next? Craft an email to follow up to them. And, could she do that? Absolutely. She can go home and type that up. But or you can do it on a computer if you it's phone or computer. But we don't. The reality is we don't do these things, and it helps her be more professional to her clients. It helps them remember what they were talking about and what the goals are. And when she comes back several weeks later, 2 weeks later or so, it helps her refresh and get more aligned. That's that sort of magic of writing. So it just helps people be a little more professional.
Really awesome. Yeah, I could just see that being used in so many different ways. Well,
Lesson plan, whatever you need.
yeah, absolutely. So is there a way that the Dyslexic Advantage community can help you guys?
Yes. This is like our favorite community. So on our website, storiedwork.com, because it is work and it's legendary work if you can write, storied work, is a link for a dyslexic leader group. You can check it out there. You can try the app for free. It's all free. And then you can apply. And what we do with them is we lifetime free membership, and we engage them with Slack and help these leaders do even more. The second thing is we would love to work with organizations. We are, I wouldn't say we're an ed tech play, but we do help people communicate their ideas, which is a big reason that there is so much focus on writing. And so if it's a group that is looking to help explore new ways to help people get their ideas out and get to clarity, we'd love to work with them. If it's in the education space, or if it's part of an organization that wants to create more writing and more clarity through enabling tools that help people get to that writing culture or clarity without the forcing of, like, you have to use a pencil or whatever. So we would love to work with organizations that are sort of aligned with that mission.
That's cool. Really cool. On that note, this seems like it was designed for grown-ups at work, but do you kind of drift down? Are you really focused on the workplace, or are you drifting down to, say, college, grad school, high school? What's your
Yeah.
thought about that?
Yeah, we absolutely, we have some college kids who are using this to do everything from write cover letters, which is one of those forms of writing that we dread,
Yeah,
everyone dreads,
totally.
to writing business propositions. We have this guy who's a dyslexic race car driver, and he's pitching himself for sponsorship. So absolutely at the college level, I think in the reality is once you're out in the world, it's all about who has the best ideas and how do you get those done. And that actually is true at college too. Get your ideas down. Once you have the bullet point, now you can go rewrite it and do whatever format. Education, I've seen some kids like, a dyslexic leaders using it. And then I see they have their son write a pitch for selling, Christmas wreaths or something like that. So any level you can use it at.
Yeah, well, this is really cool. Okay, any final thoughts?
No, I absolutely love this community. It was a game changer to see your book and to read your issues. Um, I I'm really hopeful. I'm inspired by the insights that dyslexics can see. As I talked to these other people, first I thought it was weird. But I think there's something there. And I think if we can create new modes where you can get closer to just talking, asking questions, rewriting, I'm really inspired by what this community can achieve.
Yay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Storiedwork.com.
All right. Storywork.com. What a pleasure.